Good morning. Today we look at Isaiah 34, 35, and 36. And chapter 34 begins, "Draw near, O nations, to hear. O people, give heed. Let the earth hear, and all that fills it." And this message that's coming right now isn't a good news. You know, verse 2, "The Lord is enraged against all nations and furious against their hordes. He has doomed them." You know, and so here, you know, God is coming down at the people and he's saying, you have done so much wrong. And not only the Israelites, but all nations, the Assyrians, doesn't matter, Egypt and all of them. They're going to be taken care of. All the hosts will wither like a leaf withering on a vine or fruit withering on a fig tree. And, it's just, there's going to be nothing left. It's just devastation. And then starting in verse 5 is, God's going to destroy the enemy. And, when my sword has drunk its fill in the heavens, it will descend upon Edom, upon the people I have doomed to judgment. The Lord has a sword just sated with blood. And, God's anger is stirred. And, I don't know if there'd be anything worse than having God angry at us, at me, at you. It's just, because of the great power that he there's nothing that can limit God, and so it is, if his anger is against you and he strikes against you, you're going to fall. You have no choice, no chance. It's just like Satan and all of the demons, when Jesus would speak, they had to do what Jesus said, because all things in heaven and on earth and under earth, are under the power of Jesus Christ. It's at the name of Jesus, every knee shall bend on the earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. That's in Philippians, I believe. But there isn't anything or anyone that's going to stand against God. Verse 8, the Lord has a day of vengeance, a year of vindication by Zion's cause. And the streams of Edom will be burned into pitch, and her soil into sulfur, and her land will become burning pitch. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah. That there was nothing left. There was, the fire and everything came blasting down from heaven. It just burned and destroyed everything. So night and day it will not be quenched, and smoke will go on forever. From generation to generation it will lie waste. It's total destruction. There is, we've had some terrible things happening lately with the hurricane and with all the fires and stuff, and things are burned and gone and flooded and gone, and but yet there is a remnant. There's something left there, and here this just totally just wiped out, and it's just going to be barren ground, nothing left at all. And it's not good news. Thorns will grow over its strongholds, nettles and thistles in its fortresses. It will be the haunt of jackals, an abode for ostriches. Wildcats will meet hyenas. It's desolation, desolate areas, and no people there. And second part of verse 16, the mouth of the Lord has commanded, and his spirit has gathered them. He has cast a lot for them. His hand has portioned it, and they will possess it from generation to generation. And then chapter 35 again now is better news for Israel, the restoration of Israel. The wilderness, the dry land will be glad. The desert will rejoice and bloom like crocuses. It will blossom abundantly. And the glory of Lebanon will be there, and the glory of the Lord will be upon them. And then verse 4, say to those who are a fearful heart, be strong, do not fear. Here is your God. He will come with vengeance and terrible recompense. He will come and save you. And so in the midst of all of this desolation and destruction, God's anger coming out at these countries who have been oppressing Egypt, or Israel, Egypt, one of them, and doing, what God would not have them do, because, God would have all people know him. God would have all people worship him. God would have all people hold him as their God. but they don't. And so God will come and save you. The eyes of the blind will be opened. The deaf shall hear. The lame will leap like a deer. You know, good news is there. I mean, there's hope for the future, a promise for the future. The burning sand will become a pool, and the thirsty ground, springs of water. And that's, you know, to see a land that's been parched and dry with nothing, and then to have rainfall, you know, not the flooding and, you know, excess, but to have the restoration of the land and, you know, the ground being able to grow and produce a crop again. And starting in verse 8, you know, here we have security, safety. A highway will be there called the Holy Way. The unclean will not tread on it, but it will be for God's people. No traveler, not even fools, will go astray. You know, so this royal holy highway will be there, leading, guiding, protecting, you know, us in our lives. And this, you know, I don't know, maybe we could look at the royal highway as you know, the golden rule: love your neighbor as yourself. You know, to treat others the way we should be. But you know, on this golden highway, we will be safe and secure. No lion will be there. There won't be anything there to tempt us. There won't be anything there to destroy us. You know, no lion, no ravenous beast, they will not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of the Lord will return and come to Zion with singing. So again, Zion is Jerusalem, you know, the promised land, the capital city that will be restored. And then, you know, so we have that good news in chapter 35 again. And it's hard to go through life just with bad news, bad news, bad news. We all want to hear some good news. And so for the Israelites to hear this word of hope, this word of promise for the future, I mean, it was always strengthening for them, giving them, you know, something to look forward to. And that's, you know, you think of what do you look forward to? What brings you anticipated joy? You know, for, you know, many of us, I would say, that are watching or doing this, you know, it's to see our children and grandchildren, and, you know, to those things, you know, people, to visit with friends and see all of that. The people that bring us joy in our lives. Chapter 36, you know, begins in the 14th year of King Hezekiah. You know, so here we have it, you know, dated. And, you know, some of these things we're going to read again in Ezekiel, because, you know, Isaiah, you know, a lot of times the prophets weren't the only prophet at the time. You know, they would overlap some and be around and telling the same stories and different things. But, you know, so in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, who is the king of Judah, King Sennacherib of Assyria came up against all the fortified cities of Judah and captured them. And the fortified cities of Judah, there were 46 fortified cities of Judah. You know, they just, you know, when they would build a city, they would build walls around it so that, you know, the enemies just couldn't come walking in, you know, but, you know, they had to, you know, come up over the walls and somehow get inside the city. But 46 cities that were fortified were captured by King Sennacherib of Assyria, the Babylonians. And the king of Assyria sent Rabshakeh from wherever to King Hezekiah at Jerusalem with a great army. And he stood there and came out, and there came out then to him Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, who was in charge of the palace. So this Eliakim was the person from Jerusalem that came out to hear the word of this person that had come, Rabshakeh, you know, from the king of Syria, because, you know, here he is. He's coming with a message from the king of Assyria to King Hezekiah, and Eliakim comes to hear this word. And so then, you know, comes the word from this messenger from the Assyrians. Thus says the great king, the king of Assyria, or, you know, say to Hezekiah, the king of Judah, Jerusalem there, You know, do you think mere words and power, you know, it's threatening, intimidating, you know, to read verses 4 through, you know, what, 20, basically. I mean, it's words of intimidation, words of threat, words that would strike the fear into the hearts of the people. And, you know, he is asked in verse 11, Eliakim, you know, says, speak in Aramaic, for we understand it. Don't speak in the language of Judah, so all the people on the walls hear. You know, he wanted to keep some of it secret, you know, but, you know, that wasn't going to happen. He's going to speak in the word of the Aramaic, which was the speech of commerce. You know, that was you know, the speech that everybody used. So he stood there and used this loud voice, you know. Don't let Hezekiah deceive you. Don't let this king of Jerusalem deceive you that God, whoever this God is going to help you and protect you. Don't listen to this, but hear this, you know. Don't listen to Hezekiah saying the Lord will deliver us, but make your peace with me and come on out, surrender, you know, accept your fate. But, you know, God is faithful. And in verse 21, where we kind of end with the last part of this chapter, they were silent and answered him not a word, because King Hezekiah's command was, don't answer this person that's coming from this Assyrian king. Don't give in to his words, you know, listen to what he says, but give him no answer. And it was kind of Hezekiah's way of saying, trust in God, because God will protect us. God will deliver us, even though the king of Assyria doesn't think so.